How's it going, everybody? And happy holidays and happy new year from me and some of the other guys over here at Total Justice Gaming. We're back with a new bot talk. We are going to be looking at blue-green 3-wide bugs. Insecticons have been very prominent in this game since its inception, and I believe this deck will be no different. We have been playtesting this, and so far this is the best variant I've come up with after playtesting with some of the other guys. We will be running, like I said, a 3-wide deck. This will be Wave 4 Chop Shop, Wave 3 Scrapnel, and Wave 4 Kickback. We will do the rundown. So Chop Shop's Insecticon and Melee, Scrapnel is Leader Insecticon Melee, and Kickback is Insecticon and Specialist. Chop Shop is a 4-11-1, Scrapnel is a 4-11-2, Kickback is a 4-9-0. With abilities, Chop Shop has, when you flip to this mode, you can scrap a green card from your hand. If you do, repair 1 damage from each of your characters. If the scrap card has no other battle icons other than green, repair 1 more damage from each of your characters. Scrapnel in alt mode has Brave. And Kickback in alt mode says, when this defends, flip 1 more card, when this defends, flip 1 more battle card from each Insecticon that was on your starting team. Meaning he essentially has tough 3 every time he offends without essentially and effectively having tough 3. Moving on over to flipping, everybody. Sure, we're still in shot. We are. Fantastic. Looking at their bot modes, we have Chop Shop, who's in Insecticon Melee. Scrapnel still retains his Leader Insecticon Melee, and Kickback also maintains his abilities of Insecticon Specialist. Stat rundown, Chop Shop becomes a 5-11-1, Scrapnel becomes a 5-11-1, and Kickback becomes a 4-9-1, gaining just 1 defense. Everybody else has pretty good stats overall. Looking at a grand total of roughly 31 health, which is not too bad for a 3-wide team. Their abilities are for Chop Shop. When this attacks and you flip at least 1 green icon, repair damage from this. Scrapnel has 1 upgraded scrap from 1 of your characters, repair 1 damage. And Kickback is when one of your Insecticons attacks and you flip at least a blue, do 1 damage to the defender. So, how is the lineup for this deck going to look? We are currently 3-wide, so we are limited in our battle options. However, we have a lot of versatility. We have Kickback being able to give himself tough 3, because we're a 3-wide deck, or being able to give any of our Insecticons essentially burn 1, as we are a blue-green deck. Scrapnel has Brave, but can also accelerate healing for whenever Chop Shop eats something or something is scrapped from one of your characters, repair damage to himself. And Chop Shop likes to, much like his prior version, repair damage, be the team medic. This time just via flipping and healing and scrapping from the hand rather than the character itself. Scrapnel likes to be a tank with Brave and redirecting attacks. Kickback, very different from his original incarnation. He is a more defensive Kickback with the built-in tough 3 that is not tough 3 and the ability to burn an opponent, as opposed to his ultra-aggressive, let's make a ridiculous amount of bold. But how do we play this deck? After some playtesting, I have seen that the best way for turn 1 is to transform Chop Shop first, swing with Kickback. They will have to hit Kickback because Kickback will be the only legal target. He'll have tough 3. He'll be able to defend quite easily because we have quite the stacked battle deck. So defense is not going to be an issue. Then we're going to leave the next turn. We are going to leave Scrapnel in alt mode. In fact, I can pretty much tell you right now, there are very few times where Scrapnel will even leave alt mode. So we will be swinging with him. So when we defend, they will have to go into Scrapnel this next turn, since he has Brave, wasting their attacks. Then finally, on the third turn, we will transform Kickback. Well, let me rephrase that. Turn 2, we transform Kickback, swing with Scrapnel. That way we do a point of damage of burn. Then turn 3, we can either swing with Chop Shop in bot mode or swing with Chop Shop in alt mode, using his ability to heal off any damage that was sustained to either Scrapnel or Kickback from the previous 2 turns. That's how this deck will pretty much go. And then your only real thing is flipping back and forth Kickback and Chop Shop for either burn, high defense buffs, or just flat out healing. Scrapnel's pretty much going to stay there so he can maintain his Brave and redirect damage to himself as much as possible, while Kickback is in his bot form for his burn ability. But every time we reset the board, it will always be Kickback. It will always be Transform Chop Shop, swing with Kickback, second turn. Transform Kickback, swing with Scrapnel. Keep going, transform back with Chop Shop, swing, continue to heal, and then so on and so on and so on. But that's how we take our turns with this deck. And then we will move on into battle cards. Alright guys, we're going into battle cards this time. We will do a quick rundown. This time we were running 3 copies of Handheld Blaster. This is the first of many double blue pips. Since this deck is only 22 stars, we are actually going to be running a 9 cards with double blue pips, giving this a huge damage buff. Again, Handheld Blaster, much like many of the decks it's featured in, it is not here for the bold. It is not here to be a weapon. It's here to flip for double blue pips. We are running 3 of those. We're running 3 copies of Soldier's Blaster. I see this much better than maybe, and this is debatable. I do have it in sideboard. I don't have the sideboard sleeved. I will get to that later. I just see this as much more versatile because we have more opportunities to hit for +3 with more Autobots and Mercenaries out and about, especially after Worlds. So, plus we can scrap this for Chop Shop's ability. But Soldier's Blasters being +1, it gives us pretty respectable stats. It makes everybody either 5 or 6, which can buff it up depending on when we are hitting an Autobot or a Mercenary. We can buff them up to a 8 or a 7 across the board. So we're running 3 of these. Running 2 copies of Dismantling Claw. When it's a blue-green, when it's scrapped from a character, scrap an enemy weapon. We can scrap this for a multitude of things, with a multitude of actions, thus triggering its ability to scrap an enemy weapon. So we get kind of a small combo and a small bonus of +1 attack. It's reoccurable. We can attach it to somebody and then scrap it off somebody later to scrap an opposing enemy weapon, be it a Battle Master or whatnot. But we're only running out of 2 of. So we're running 8 weapons in this deck. Next up, we're running 3 copies of Medic Field. I had a talk with Wasi about this long ago while initially designing this deck, and me and him really fell in love with this idea. I don't know how sound it is. It's been doing pretty well. Maybe not as well as I imagined, but it is doing fairly well. And the idea is to give Safeguard 3 to Scrapnel, who already has Brave. So Brave plus Safeguard 3, meaning they can't hit for high numbers on Scrapnel, who is redirecting attacks to them constantly unless they do a ping of damage to him right off the bat. And if they only deal like a single point of damage, or we get Chop Shop going in the healing route, Scrapnel is going to be pretty much untouchable and making everybody hit him while he's taking no damage. This is in an ideal situation. It has been able to be pulled off several times. It's very annoying. I've had it done it to somebody, and I've played against my own deck, having one of the guys do it, and it's very frustrating to deal with if they get it out too. It's also one of our white pips, and it's our armor. Next up, we got 3 copies of Smoke Cloak. Just gives us tough 1. It's a blue-black because we do need a little bit of pierce. Just to make sure some damage goes through. The bugs are not exactly hard hitters, especially blue-green bugs. So there is some black to go in there to make sure we get some damage. Then we are going with 3 copies of extra padding. Extra padding is another blue-green, so we can pitch with Chop Shop. Gives us a tough 1 that builds up to a tough 3. I don't think any more needs to be said. We're running a total of 9 armors. Next up, we're running 3 copies of Metal Detector. Metal Detector is a black-green, which is a utility that says when an upgraded character attacks, reveal the top tier of your deck. If it's an upgrade, you can play it. This helped me get into Medic's Field and Soldier's Blaster, and extra padding is much, much easier. Again, we put it on either Chop Shop or Scrapnel to ensure we get stuff quicker on them. Since we will be scrapping stuff off of the characters a bit more aggressively with other actions and abilities, we can re-equip them just as quickly, and this helps us out. Also, this is not like the end-all be-all, so this can easily just be scrapped or pitched from hand pretty easily. It's no big loss, but I mean, like I said, it's here because of black pip, it's here because of green pip. It can net us a card, net us an upgrade for free, and I don't mind pitching it if it comes in hand too much. Next, we're running 3 copies of Toolbox. Toolbox is one of the big new cards that came out of the set. I was very fortunate to pull 3 out of my 3 boxes. I just sometimes don't have that great of luck with rares, but I did this time. So, Toolbox is a single green pip. It's a utility upgrade. If damage will be repaired from the character, instead it would be repaired that much damage plus 1. Again, we could put this on Scrapnel. This lets us heal even quicker. We can pitch it. Pitch another card when we transform Chop Shop. And heal 1 damage. So he would get plus 3 healing, I believe. So heal 1 more from Chop Shop, then heal 1 more off Toolbox. So yeah, I could heal for 3 damage off of 1 single card on Scrapnel, and if we have the Medic's Force Field, that could possibly put us back into undamaged state and let us have Safeguard 3 all over again. Likewise, it is a single pitch. It's a single green, so this does enable us to pitch it. It also meets Chop Shop's ability for when he attacks flip green, we can repair him. So if we have a Toolbox on Chop Shop, we repair 2. That's why we're running 3 of that. We're running 3 copies of Designated Target. Double black pip. It says each of your characters gets pierce 2 till the end of turn. Again, bugs do not hit for a very high amount, so giving them pierce 2, it's 4 pierce 2, so we're guaranteeing half their printed damage already guaranteed to hit. So we will be able to do that. If for some reason we take the lead, that means we get 2 characters that can swing for pierce 2. That's really good. Also, we're running 3 copies of Headon Collision. Headon Collision is our other white pip. This says one of your characters attacks if it gets plus 3 damage while attacking in alt mode this turn. We will be actually using alt mode quite a bit in this Insecticon deck. Scrapnel will almost never leave it, meaning he'll be at a 7 damage. Kickback, if we go second, and kickback is our first swing, that means kickback can hit for 7. Scrap and Chop Shop will be hitting for 7. So these are respectable numbers. It does say that it states only in alt mode, but we are actually not coming out of alt mode too much in the deck, actually. So we kind of actually really profit off this card. We are running 3 copies of Reprocess. Reprocess says when an upgrade is scrap an upgrade from any character, repair 2 damage from that character. So we can combine quite a bit from this. So we can say an ideal situation is Scrapno would have Toolbox on him. So he has Toolbox on him. We scrap a Dismantling Claw off of him. So we reprocess the Dismantling Claw. Dismantling Claw scraps. We get rid of an enemy weapon. We heal for 2 damage. Toolbox triggers. We heal for 3 damage. So I think -2 to heal 3 is the correct terminology. If I'm doing my math correctly, I may not be. I'm not that strong in math. I'm really, really bad at it, actually. But, hit in the comments below if my math is correct on that. But, insane amount of healing. We're not too much, we're running 3 of it. We're running 3 copies of Security Checkpoint. That is our second set of 3 for double blues. Its ability is each player reveals their hand, scraps all upgrades from it. We are not running that many upgrades. We're only running 8 weapons, 9 armors, and 6 utilities. That's not very much. We are actually more action-based this deck and more bot abilities this deck. So this could be very detrimental to opposing decks and not that detrimental to ours. And again, it runs a double blue pip. Next up, we are running 3 copies of EMP Wing. Again, mentioned, we are only a 22 card deck. We are running these 3 stars to make it 25. This has another set of double blues. We are running 9 double blues in this deck. Not too much is going to hit us if we're lucky. We also get to tap all characters. This actually can be used to our advantage. If we take on our last turn and everybody's tapped or 2 people are scrapped, we can reset the board. Though not exactly to our advantage. It hasn't really worked out to playing it yet. If we reset the board, I try to do it as early as possible. That way I can just keep attacking and not have to worry about them spreading out attacks. It really is just there to make up the stars and give us 9 double blues. I mean, I'm trying to sell it the best I can, but all in all, it's really just there to make up the stars and the 9 double blues. And then finally, we have when an opponent scraps one of their Smelt, which is another blue-green. Says your opponent chooses one of their upgrades and scraps it. It's a non-situational one. I mean, yes, the opponent does choose it, so they're going to scrap the lesser of what they can afford to lose. But they do have to scrap something, and it's not like, what's the good word I'm looking for here? They don't get to choose, leave something there. It can target anything to be scrapped, utility, armor, or weapon. I don't really like that, unlike Vaporize or the one that has Grimlock on, whose aim is escaping me at the moment, the opponent chooses because they're always going to choose a lesser. But at the same time, I don't mind it because they have to choose anything of theirs to get scrapped. Although realistically, it is just in here for the blue-green. Sideboard, I am running Vaporize. That way I can target myself. I just want to try and keep the green and blue count, the blue count extremely high while the green count respectable, since we do have to flip greens in order to trigger Chop Shop or pitch greens to trigger Chop Shop. So that is the deck. Sideboard, we really don't have a bot that can go in. If I drop anything, I would probably, I don't know, put in one of the other Insecticons. I do see the variant being run with the other kickback. I don't see the point of that in the blue deck, but I've seen it. I don't understand it. Sideboard wise, honestly, Scoundrel's Blaster, Vaporize, and a couple of secret actions are what my sideboard is right now. But guys, thanks so much for watching. Sorry, got the card out. Move the card for the camera. But guys, thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys soon. We will be having more videos up shortly. The holidays just kicked my butt. And I will see everybody next time.